What's up, everyone? Welcome to the April 23rd edition of FanDuel Tournament Plays presented by Prize Picks. I'm your host, Adam Scherer. You can follow me on Twitter at ShipMyMoneyDFS. And as a reminder, you get one free month of Awesemo plus Platinum when you sign up and make a deposit at Prize Picks. Be sure to use the code Awesemo to receive a 100% first deposit bonus up to $100. Tonight, we have a 5-game MLB slate. We're going to take a look at 3 of the top tournament stacks and 3 of the top tournament pitchers using the top stacks tool and the top pitchers tool on Awesemo.com, starting with the top stacks. Number 3, the San Diego Padres facing Tyler Anderson. They have a 3.8 implied run total. Their lineup is a little bit weaker than we hoped it would be at this point of the season with Fernando Tatis sidelined, but there is still power in this lineup with guys like Machado, Cronenworth, Voit, Austin Nola at catcher, most likely hitting toward the top of the order. So there is still some upside here. Anderson's making his first start of the season for the Dodgers. First 2 appearances were out of the bullpen. He went 55 to 60 pitches, likely to give you 75 to 80 if he's pitching well here. Not the best matchup for the Padres, but in his starts since the beginning of last season, Anderson does have a relatively inflated 4.6 xFIP. He's only struck out 19% of hitters. So just one of those pitchers where when he's on, he changes speeds well. He keeps guys off balance, but he doesn't have a huge margin for error. And so there is plenty of upside here for the Padres, who are currently projected for 5% aggregate ownership with a 7% chance of being the top scoring stack. Number 2, the Los Angeles Dodgers on the other side of this game, 9% chance of being the top scoring stack, 6% aggregate ownership projection. They're taking on Yu Darvish, who is one of the best pitchers on the slate. The Dodgers also only have a 3.8 implied run total, but Darvish is someone that, for a really good pitcher, does get blown up relatively frequently. When he's not locating, he can give up a lot of home runs in a hurry. And we know that even if you ignore possible benefits, even if you ignore the potential downside to Darvish, the Dodgers are just a team that on a 5-game slate where they're only competing with 9 other offenses, there's so much talent and so much upside in this lineup that they are an appealing tournament option at only 6% projected ownership. And number 1, the New York Mets, projected to be with the best chance of being the top scoring stack on the slate at 22%, only 16% aggregate ownership projection, taking on Humberto Castellanos and the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Mets have power and some speed top to bottom in this lineup, and that's good to keep in mind because even though as a team they are getting a good amount of ownership at 16%, not only are they projected to be under-owned in terms of top stack percentage, but there's going to be ways that you can get lower owned hitters into your lineup without sacrificing a ton in the way of upside. Obviously, people are going to be looking to the top of the order with guys like Brandon Nimmo, Starling Marte, Francisco Lindor, Pete Alonso, but you can work to the bottom of the order as well with guys like Mark Canha, who's probably going to be hitting around 7th. You'll probably have Jeff McNeil towards the bottom of the order. He's got some power as well. So there's different ways that you can attack the Mets lineup without just using the 4 most popular players. And so it's just another way to be different in tournaments. Now, looking at the top 3 tournament pitchers, number 3, Chris Bubic, $7,200 price tag, taking on the Seattle Mariners. Bubic is projected for 6% ownership with an 8% chance of being the top scoring pitcher. The Mariners have a 4.2 implied run total. Bubic has struck out 20.3% of hitters in his start since the beginning of last season, 4.56 xFIP and 1.82 home runs per 9. He's far from a great pitcher, but he is young. He does have some talent. He's one of the better pitching prospects in the Kansas City organization, but he also is fully stretched out. So if he is pitching well, you can get that quality start bonus for him. There's no reason that he wouldn't be able to go 6 innings if he's pitching well. Number 2, Ian Anderson, $9,700 price tag, projected for 11% ownership with an 11% chance of being the top scoring pitcher. He has a favorable matchup against the Miami Marlins. He's a good pitcher overall, 23.1% strikeout percentage, 3.98 xFIP since the beginning of last season. Ownership is in line with his chances of being the top scoring pitcher. Makes it easy to be contrarian with bats, throw Anderson in at relatively low ownership, still at 11%, and be on your way. And number 1, Eliezer Hernandez on the other side of that game, $7,700 price tag, taking on the Atlanta Braves. Hernandez is projected for 7% ownership with a 12% chance of being in the optimal lineup. Hernandez threw 76 pitches in his first start this season, 91 in his second start. So there is risk, of course, in facing the Atlanta Braves, but if he's able to mitigate damage against the Braves and work his way through this lineup, he is inexpensive and also capable of giving you 6+ innings and getting the quality start. One other thing to be interested in Hernandez is that since the beginning of last season, his biggest issue has been home runs. He's allowed 2.3 home runs per nine, but we've seen a drop off in home runs so far this season. And I think that was to be expected, given that not only is baseball still using the dead baseballs that they put into play a year or two ago, but now every park has a humidor as well. So balls just aren't going to fly as well. When you have pretty good strikeout stuff like Hernandez does, and you are home run prone, he's the kind of guy that I think you could see maybe have a little bit better season overall than the numbers suggest, or than maybe he would have last year or in previous years. So to recap, the top 3 tournament stacks on FanDuel: number 3, the San Diego Padres; number 2, the Los Angeles Dodgers; and number 1, the New York Mets. And the top 3 tournament pitchers: number 3, Chris Bubich; number 2, Ian Anderson; and number 1, Eliezer Hernandez.